I'm not really proud to admit this, and I'm not sure why it took me so long to understand that security isn't something you put into place to satisfy an audit or as a bragging point to sell your clients more service, but that security is the foundation on which all our systems need to be built from. Let me start with a story. I worked at a Global 100 firm after having worked for a much smaller and more nimble firm for years. I think I associated security with changing my password every 3 months, having no password management system, not being able to check personal email from work, and that I would be removed from every internal system each year and would need my manager to manually add me and reapprove me for access to each one of these systems one by one so that I can continue my work. I won't talk about how slow our VPN was and how it was needed to do virtually anything inside the company. In retrospect, I realized that a single breach or a single leak of client data would have tarnished the reputation of this Global 100 firm to the point of ending our business unit. This is why they implemented every level of security possible. In retrospect, I agree with their tactics and the level of security they employed. But perhaps if they would have better explained and communicated to us as to why they had done this, and perhaps things that they saw that we couldn't see, I would have accepted it far sooner. Lastly, I think the reason for my hesitation is that being a technical person, I know about ransomware, phishing, viruses, and perhaps it would be hard to fool a person like me, but this is terrible thinking since not all employees are technical, but still as important as other folks in the business. I think it's human nature to resist anything that is overwhelmingly being promoted or pushed, even if it makes complete sense. Perhaps we feel it's an attack on our individuality and that we have this desire to remain independent and unique and self-reliant. So, when security breaches went from website defacements and political messaging to profitable yet illegal enterprises, I had the same feelings of security come up. Although for every SaaS client we had implemented in the past, we'd always be sure to bring a very structured security approach to their environment. So perhaps that's why I thought it was noise before, and irrational as my resistance was, here's a set of circumstances that kind of snapped me out of it. Me having to use the something is not right function in Facebook after getting strange messages from friends of mine in Facebook. Or the story of a company named CodeSpace that literally had their entire AWS environment deleted when they didn't pay a ransom to someone who had gotten a hold of their credentials. Or a story of a giant retailer that was hacked through their HVAC vendor that had a remote connection to their system. Or me checking cash registers and gas pumps for skimmers when I fill up for gas or buy something in a store because of the proliferation of card scanners at places. Or perhaps it was the Equifax hack, or maybe the SolarWinds hack. Even a local school system in my area had fallen victim to a ransomware, and to get their student data back ended up paying the ransom. Lastly, I serve as a volunteer in the city I live in, which gives me a city email address. I personally got an email from someone phishing who tried to convince me they were the town's mayor and needed me to buy gift cards for some strange reason. So that's why I believe the latest push for cybersecurity awareness is completely warranted. It's not sales and marketing trying to pitch another product, but it's an epidemic that is affecting consumers on up to the Global 100. Most of the security experts I work with tell me that it shouldn't be expected if a breach will occur, but when and how bad will it be? The good news is that it's not hard to start putting things in place. It can be done without breaking the bank and can start with something as simple as periodic training of your employees. When I got hired at my first job in the technology sector, we were put into a month-long boot camp of training. One of the most important trainings was email and internet etiquette, as well as basic online security. One of the more interesting things that we were taught would be that webmasters, we used to use that word, of a company could use HTTP refer to see the last page you were on, and if that page had a URL structure that could give away critical data, such as an intranet file with a client's name or a future acquisition list for the firm we were working on, these things could actually show up in their logs. And so everyone that was hired by this firm went through this boot camp and went through this all-important training. Anyway, hopefully that helped. Thank you for joining me this week, and we hope to continue being able to produce these videos for you. Take care.